Hello, thank everyone for coming here. We are starting the press conference now of the European Youth Forum. I'm Milan Mausad, I'm a delegate of the European Youth Forum and also member of the International Young Nature Friends. The European Youth Forum is representing 150 million young people in Europe, and we want to use this press conference to give youth a voice in COP24, because we think it's very important. And I'd like to start with giving the floor to Sebastian Roth, board member of the European Youth Forum, and he's going to read out our statement.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, with the help of Yongo, we had a bilateral meeting with the European Union. And it was a fruitful meeting. We are very glad that they made time for us, but at the same time, the topic where we could work together on and further our cooperation on was only climate empowerment, whereas we also have a strong call for more ambition. We really want to make sure that our future is safeguarded, not only our future, but our present. And that's why, together, the European Youth Forum with its members, 105 member organizations, and millions of young people all over Europe work together to come with one clear message for European governments beyond the European Union and the European Commission that we would want to have attention for. We believe that climate change is an imminent threat to young people's livelihoods and future. The European Youth Forum, here representing more than 100 young organizations and tens of millions of young people from all over Europe, we call on governments, as well as on the European Union, to commit to climate action, to meet the Paris Agreement. COP24, currently taking place in Katowice, is crucial for this regards. To support this action, the European Union must revise its 2030 targets for climate and adopt a long-term and ambitious target for net zero carbon emissions in line with the 1% degrees Celsius goal. For young people, climate change is a matter of justice. It is those who are already vulnerable due to their economic status, age, race, and gender identity, who are feeling the worst impacts of climate change and have the least access to decision-making. Financial means must be allocated to ensure a fast, comprehensive, and just transition to a net zero carbon economy and to renewable energy. Institutions must end harmful subsidies for fossil fuels and divest from fossil fuel companies. To ensure that investment corresponds with a fair, sustainable, and equitable vision of the future, they should be guided by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We need to shift from a current linear economic model towards a circular economy. The goal must be to keep resources in use as long as possible, reducing waste creation and exploitation of the earth. To achieve this, all sectors should be included. Measures enabling the creation of new circular business models, products and services must be supported. The new jobs these models could create are essential opportunity to provide young people with meaningful employment. Beyond this, a larger shift to a critique of extractivism and a culture of sufficiency is vital. We urgently need a discussion on alternative economic models that are not based on GDP growth. The European Union and European governments must move towards alternative measures of progress that reflect the real well-being of people and the health of our planet. Tools like the Youth Progress Index, one of the first instruments developed to give the full story of what it's like for a young person today, independent of economic indicators, must be used and must be supported. On top of that, education can change the world. Educating young people about the roots, the impacts, and the solutions to climate change is crucial to empower them to take climate actions. We urge European leaders to implement and support education for sustainable development in formal and non-formal settings, equipping students and young people with the knowledge and competences to shape a just and sustainable future. The role of youth organizations and young people should also be addressed. Youth organizations are key in fostering the intergenerational dialogue that is necessary to face this climate crisis. For a common understanding of the risks and opportunities it can give to build a fair, peaceful, and sustainable Europe, the participation and commitment of all generations is required. Young people have the right to participate in decision-making on our own future. Action or inaction from governments on climate change will have a huge impact on that future. The right to participate must therefore be guaranteed in policy processes relating to climate change and sustainable development. The European Youth Forum also urges governments to include youth in their delegations through cooperations with national youth councils and equivalent youth organizations. The urgency of the situation requires a dramatic shift in our priorities. For the European Union, the European Parliament, elections next year provide a crucial opportunity to prioritize the well-being of the people, of future generations, and the planet in all decisions and policies. Young people possess the energy, creativity, and passion to create a new pathway for a sustainable Europe. Collective action is the only way to achieve a sustainable world, and we invite governments, EU institutions, and all relevant actors to work with us to shape that common future. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have several young people here talking from different perspectives about why it is so important that we have this statement and why it is not only a statement, but it will also be climate action at some point, hopefully. We're going to start with Clémence Janssen. She's a Belgian UN Youth Delegate for Climate and also from the Belgian French-speaking Youth Council. And she's going to talk about the importance to involve youth in decision-making, since she is a delegate of the Belgian UN Youth for Climate was initiating the whole statement.
Thank you very much, Milan, and thank you, Sebastian. I'm very glad to hear today the statement, because actually the idea for a common European statement was initiated a few months ago. Actually, Belgium was hosting the Talanoa dialogue for the Benelux countries. So we, as young delegates for the Benelux country, we decided to stand together and have a common declaration. And I would like to thank the youth delegates from these countries. They are here today. And actually, after this first declaration from the 24th of September, actually, we start thinking about maybe creating a European statement. So I would like first to thank someone from the French-speaking Youth Councils of Belgium, so Sébastien Wilmar, who wrote the first draft of this statement. And it's really important to highlight here the fact that we, as youth, we have the opportunity to work together. And we have this opportunity to be more impactful, powerful in our meeting if we have a common declaration on behalf of European Youth Forum as well. And this is also an opportunity for us to really show to the adults world that as youth, we can stand together and we can have an ambitious declaration about climate change. And finally, I would like just to remind here an important fact. We are here at the international level advocating for more youth inclusion in the decision-making process. And at that moment, we still have governments or delegations at the international level or at the European level that doesn't include youth in their delegation. So that's the first thing that we can ask here today, is to include youth in the decision-making process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the big topics in decision-making where youth should be included is climate action, and that's why Femke Lutens will talk more about the urgency to take climate action, and she's from the Youth and Environment Europe.
Thank you. Before I start speaking about climate change, I want to make the bridge from Clémence, and I want to talk a little bit more about youth. I am 24 years old, and I'm here at COP24. So what does that mean? It means that me and many other young people were born even after the climate negotiations were started. And despite this long time, emissions are still rising, and the effects of climate change are already felt today. This is really, really worrying, and this requires bold actions. The last IPCC special report shows that we have 12 years to limit dangerous global warming. To make it clear, this is not about switching off the lights. Limiting climate change under 1.5 degrees will require urgent and unprecedented changes in our society. For us to survive, we need to worry about the right numbers, not GDP, but alternative progress indicators, or the numbers of people in the streets that are demanding for climate actions, or the actual emissions are the numbers that count. To make it not too depressing, I also want to stress that climate change is not only a threat to our future, but it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to strive for a future that is more just, more peaceful, and sustainable. It is time, now, to foster quality of life of current and future generations, to preserve our beautiful planet, and to take up our historical responsibility we have towards the global south. Thank you.
Thank you. And since we all know that effects of climate change already involve many people in the world, we would also like to have Jay Khaletira talk about the Global South perspective on climate change. She is president and co-founder of the Indian Ocean Climate Network and also member of Climates.
Hello, thank you, Milan, and thank you, everybody. I was really inspired by your statement, and I wanted to add the perspective from the South. So my name is Jay, and I'm from Madagascar. I am here as one of the representatives of my country. Do I still have to remind you that climate change is a real threat to all lives every day? And Madagascar case is not an isolated case. It's been more than for 4 years now that I am working on climate change issues as a volunteer, as a worker, and as a citizen. I have met young people from everywhere, providing local solutions to reduce their carbon emissions, act in cooperation with their communities, and who are advocating at their level to make a change, the right change, so that we can all live in a world and survive in a world below 1.5 degrees. What I also saw and experienced was that young people from the South are mobilized more than ever, more and more every day, already taking action. We are ready to move forward, whatever the reason were that brought us here. It is a survival and moral act. I saw this huge dynamic at COP21 in small communities in Japan or in big cities like Marrakesh. And I also talked with network from Benin. We are all mobilized in the line to make a difference, to do our part. And for example, in my country, we have this huge population. 60% of the people are under 30, and on a global population of 25 million. We are still trying to decolonize our minds and create another model away from the dreamed Western way of life, which was built upon massive use of fossil energy and resources and human exploitation. However, there are incredible young climate gladiators among us, who are changing our society from depth, transforming our way of thinking, talking and implementing projects about energy efficiency, sobriety, ecofeminism, zero waste, education program, green schools, sustainable and connected lives at local level. What we ask is an ambitious rule book and cooperation, your cooperation, to multiply the impact of the young people in the South and in the North also. To provide appropriate response, to have a just transition. We want and deserve all stakeholders to take actions. We need all stakeholders, all countries, global North and global South. But even with all the effort we can gather, Western countries will always emit more, pollute more, harm more if no action is taken right now. As one of the young leaders of Global South, I want to join my fellow European leaders here to ask all the European governments to do their part.
Also, thank you. Now we've heard the statement of the European Youth Forum. We've heard also very inspiring statements from different perspectives on climate change and also connected to youth work and the Global South. And now, finally, we would like to give you the floor to make a statement, to address EU stakeholders, and to tell us why it is so important to take climate action as youth altogether.
Heiner Benking, I think the youth should take local, across scales, and intersectorial action across times and cultures. And that work is there. I'm with the European Citizen Science Association, coming to another kind of open science, and with the Global Commons Alliance with an ECOSOC. There in the UN, we have people like me who were actually 40, even more than 40 years around. We had this mandate. We saw Sevan Suzuki speak 92. We summarized it up. I actually delivered it for Noel Brown, that we have to look into the common frames of references. And please do that across cultures, across languages, and this harmonization is possible. I really urge you, and I would like to serve or gift that we unite the continents and not just go to climate, but really see it in the bigger picture. We humans can do mindset resetting and looking back from the big picture and then in the detail. Standardization and harmonization. With new media, it is possible. I just tell you, we just did the 24 years children communication camp just in Turku. So please continue and make sure that after everybody failed, the youth should not be alone to save the planet. It will not work. And let's try it with citizen sciences and other ways of multi-track diplomacy and policy making. This was a plea, not a question.
I would like to take the opportunity to have a counter plea. I think we all have responsibility here, not only young people. And in those regards, when we made a statement with the European Union in the bilateral between Youngo and the European Union, the main response was, young people, please help you with your Instagram. It is not about only young people, and we deserve a right to be on a table where decisions are being made. And yes, we young people are working together. We are uniting here and beyond climate change. The European Youth Forum, together with our members, works together with regional corporations all over the globe. And we are doing this. But we cannot do this alone. So, at the same time, being positive, we welcome the invitation also among other policymakers and other generations to also take the responsibility, because only when all generations take the responsibility, we can do this. And I think we young people are the example of a generation that are doing this at this moment, and we are taking the responsibility that we can take, but we cannot do this alone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there still someone else? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Daniela, and I'm part of a worldwide network for Catholic rural youth organizations called MIJARC. And referring to what was said before, I think that there are a lot of young people who are committed, who are giving their private time to the things they are passionate about. And I really think that we as young people have to ask for the structures and for the European government to help us providing the structures to be able to be committed for the things we are passionate about. Because we know what we want for the future, but sometimes we are not able alone to provide the structures we need to do so. So that's a big demand we have as young people to the governments.
I can just give you a quick reaction. It's like, I totally agree. And there is already kind of program on Monday that you can have as a youth. So there is this United Nations mandate called Youth Delegates. It's a beginning. And we, as I said before, we really need to coordinate at the European level first to implement this program in every country. It's really like the basic line that we can have. Not only just doing Instagram posts, that's not only what we are doing. We have like this power to represent the youth of our countries. So I think that the structure is sometimes already existing, and we can just try to go to see our delegation, our government, and try to implement the program. And we have like really good example, actually even here at this table, from people that implement this program directly with just this ambition and starting from nothing, actually, I think. So yeah, we need more structure, and we need to, sometimes actually you don't have to wait for your government to give you the opportunity. You need to go to see them first.
Yeah, the gentleman in the back there.
Thank you. My name is Jovin Hari. I'm a core team member of NELIS, which is Next Leaders Initiative for Sustainability. I have two questions. One, what is your feeling on the current status of negotiations? Second, how is the European Youth Forum building the leadership skills of its members in order for the members to be better able to tackle sustainability challenges? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Responding to both questions, first, your first question. We are very concerned about the signals that we're hearing about the potential of not reaching the ambition that is needed to stay below this 1% degree global warming target. So we really urge all European governments beyond the European Union, but also in the European Union and the European Union itself, to take action, to take responsibility, to make sure that it's not them. Even though in the global sphere, there are maybe other stakeholders, but European countries should at least pave the way for more ambition. And I think they have a historic responsibility to make sure that they take it. On your second question, we do everything in our power to support our members, and the membership of the Youth Forum is at its core. So being democratic, the members decide themselves what they want us to do in our work plans. I don't want to go too much into our internal proceedings, but it is our mission to support our members and making sure that you delegates can make the best impact possible. Thank you.
Yeah, here in the front.
Thank you. My name is Alex, and I'm from France. So I just wanted to react on your very interesting and strong comment about the change that we need in our society. And I think in Europe we have a lot of academia who work on degrowth and post-growth topics. There are some petitions, there is a lot of work that is done, and I think the EU have to take a stand on this. They can be a leader on this topic, and I think this could be a very good time. They have a lot of people and a lot of research and experts on that, and it's key now in the world that we need more ambition, and this is one way to push for more ambition. So I think EU should work more on that.
I just want to say that I totally agree on this.
Great, yeah, thank you. As mentioned in the statement already, you can see that there's more than GDP talking about growth and sustainability, and I think it's very important to have a pluralistic economic approach in Europe in order to tackle things from all perspectives. We have very limited time left, but of course, there's still the floor for anyone who wants to say or contribute. Is that the case? Don't be shy. Okay, of course. Then we will make a final comment, and thank you.
As a final remark, I want to thank you all for being here, because you being here is a first step. We might not be with as many, but the people in our member organizations and youth organizations beyond, they are enormous, and they are looking at us to take responsibility, to take action. We are very glad to have you here. We are very glad to work together with you, all of you. And we will make sure that your message being shared here today, that we will convey to the European Union. And that we, on the one hand, try to cooperate, try to be constructive, but on the other hand, make sure that they don't get away with bullshit. Thank you very much.